No, this ain't it.
Let's try it again, man.
I can't. Not like this. Tommy and Gina deserve better.
It is 1986, in a recording studio in Vancouver, and Jon Bon Jovi is listening to a demo of a song he helped write, and he is not impressed. It is fine, he thinks. Just fine. A little cheesy, maybe. Not the kind of song that makes a career. He is a 24-year-old kid from New Jersey, with everything riding on his third album, and he cannot afford to waste a single track. So his instinct is to leave this one off entirely and move on. What he is holding on that tape is about to become the biggest song he will ever record. The anthem, 100,000 people, will scream back at him every single night for the rest of his life. And he is 30 seconds from throwing it in the bin. Hold on to that, because the song he almost cut went to #1, helped sell that album into the tens of millions, and became one of the most beloved anthems ever written. You have sung it at a wedding. You have sung it in a car. You have absolutely screamed it at last call with your arm around a stranger. But almost nobody who belts it knows how close it came to never existing at all. And here is the part that almost nobody knows. The couple everyone roots for in that song, Tommy and Gina, the two broke kids just trying to hold on, were real people. And the thing that finally saved the song was not a producer or a record executive. It was a plastic tube and a room full of teenagers. We will get there, I promise. First, you have to throw out what you think this song is about, because it is bigger than it sounds. It is not a song about a strike. It is not a song about a diner. It is not, in the end, even a song about Tommy and Gina. It is a song about the exact moment you decide not to give up, when you have every reason to quit, and you hold on anyway, because someone is standing next to you. The song is Livin' on a Prayer. The band is Bon Jovi. And this is the true story of the anthem its own singer tried to throw away. To understand it, you have to understand where Bon Jovi were in 1986. They were a hungry bar band out of New Jersey who had put out 2 albums that did okay. Not nothing, but not the explosion they needed. This third record was Do or Die. Jon Bon Jovi was a working-class Jersey kid to the bone, and he did not want to write about fantasy and dragons. He wanted to write about people like the ones he grew up with. People who worked all week and still came up short. So for this album, the band did something they had never done before. They brought in an outside co-writer, a songwriter named Desmond Child. A man with a gift for turning a feeling into a hook you could not shake. John and his guitarist, Richie Sambora, sat down in a room with Child to see what the 3 of them could build together. And what came out of that room was 2 characters who would outlive all of them, because here is where Tommy and Gina actually come from. Desmond Child did not invent them out of thin air. He pulled them straight out of his own life. Years earlier, Child had been a broke, struggling musician in New York, scraping by, and his girlfriend at the time, a singer named Maria Vidal, had waited tables to keep them both afloat. And at the diner where she worked, the staff had a nickname for her. They called her Gina. Desmond was Tommy. The down-on-their-luck young couple that the whole world would soon be rooting for were the songwriters themselves, dressed up in a new set of clothes. And listen to the little world they built around them. Because it is only a few lines, but it is a whole life. Tommy works the docks, but the union has gone on strike, so his guitar is in hock, and he is out of work and out of luck. Gina works the day shift at a diner, pouring coffee for tips, and brings home her pay for love. 2 young people with almost nothing in the bank and everything riding on each other. That is not a rock star fantasy. That is most of the people who would ever buy the record. But John still was not sold. To him, that early version of the song was slow and a little corny, and it just did not land. This is the strange thing about hit records. The people making them often cannot hear what they have. Jon Bon Jovi genuinely thought Livin' on a Prayer was one of the weakest things they had, and he was fully prepared to cut it from the album and never look back. The person who would not let that happen was Richie Sambora. Sambora heard something in it that Jon did not, and he fought for it. So they tore it back down and rebuilt it. They picked up the tempo, they toughened the whole thing up, and Richie reached for a secret weapon that would give the song the one thing it was missing: a voice before the voice. So we have a New Jersey bar band, a co-writer's real-life heartbreak, and a lead singer who wants to throw the whole thing away. What turns it into an anthem is one of the oddest sounds in rock, and one of the oldest tricks in the book. Plus a jury nobody would ever have picked. If you love finding out how close your favorite songs came to never happening, take 1 second and hit subscribe. Because the way they rescued this one is even better than the song. Here is the first secret weapon. That famous opening, the guitar that seems to actually talk, going wah 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 before Jon sings a single word. That is not a keyboard and it is not an effect pedal. It is a talk box. Richie Sambora runs the sound of his guitar through a plastic tube that goes right up into his mouth. And then he shapes the notes with his lips and his tongue, mouthing the words silently while the guitar makes the sound, and a microphone picks up the result. The guitar is literally speaking through his mouth. It is a bizarre, slightly ridiculous thing to watch, and it produces one of the most recognizable sounds in the history of rock radio. And that changed everything. Suddenly, the demo Jon thought was cheesy had a hook before the lyrics even started. A sound so strange and so catchy that you knew the song from its first 2 seconds. The talk box gave Livin' on a Prayer a fingerprint. It stopped being just another mid-tempo song and became unmistakable. But Jon still needed convincing that it belonged on the record at all. And this is where the story gets genuinely strange. Bon Jovi did not trust their own ears to pick the track list. So they invited a group of ordinary teenagers from the neighborhood, regular kids, into the studio, sat them down, played them the demos, and let them vote on which songs should make the album. And when the votes came in, the kids went wild for Livin' on a Prayer. The song the frontman wanted to throw out was the song the fans saved before it was ever even released. The audience rescued it from the artist, and then came the last trick, the one that turns a good song into an unforgettable one. Listen to what happens near the end. After the final verse, the whole song suddenly jumps up a key. Musicians call it a modulation. Everyone else calls it the goosebumps. The entire track lifts up a level, and Jon's voice climbs up with it, and the effect on your body is instant. Everything you have been singing suddenly reaches higher, and your chest reaches with it. It is the oldest, cheapest trick in songwriting, and it might also be the most honest one. That key change is the literal sound of hope shifting up a gear. When Livin' on a Prayer came out on the album Slippery When Wet in 1986, it did not just do well, it detonated. It went to #1 and stayed there. The album sold in the tens of millions, and Bon Jovi went from a promising Jersey band to one of the biggest acts on the planet almost overnight. The song its singer nearly deleted became the engine that pulled everything else behind it, and the video sealed it. Black and White, the band in a cavernous arena, Jon flying out over the crowd on a wire, hair and denim and pure 80s spectacle, playing on MTV around the clock. A bar band that had been sleeping on floors a few years earlier was suddenly the biggest show in the world. But the hair and the harnesses are not why the song is still here. Here is why it lasted. In the middle of the most glamorous, most excessive decade in the history of pop music, a decade of limousines and champagne and impossible fantasy, Bon Jovi took a #1 single and handed it to two people who could not pay their bills. Tommy and Gina were not glamorous. They were not winning. They were just holding on. And it turned out that was exactly what millions of people needed to hear. And notice what the song actually promises. Because it is smaller and braver than you remember. It never says, you are going to win. It never says it is all going to work out. The whole thing hangs on one line, repeated like a heartbeat. that you have got to hold on to what you have got. Not triumph, not rescue, just hold on. That is why it works as easily in a stadium as it does in a hospital waiting room. It is not a victory song, it is a survival song. And survival is something everyone understands. Tommy and Gina did not fade away either. They became folklore. Years later, in the year 2000, Bon Jovi wrote another huge hit called It's My Life. And they dropped one line into it that turned two struggling songwriters into permanent legends. A shout out to Tommy and Gina, who never backed down. Think about that. A broke musician and a waitress from a diner had become recurring characters in the story of rock. The patron saints of everybody who has ever come up short at the end of the month and refused to quit anyway. And the man who wanted to throw the whole thing in the bin? Jon Bon Jovi now closes almost every concert he plays with it. He has admitted, more or less, that he got it completely wrong. That the song he was ready to cut turned out to be the reason a stadium fills up in the first place. There is a lesson buried in that, and it is not really about music. Sometimes the thing you are most ready to give up on, the one you cannot see any value in, is the exact thing that will end up defining your whole life. And you can see it every single night on tour. Watch what happens in an arena the moment that key change hits. 60,000 people who are already singing at the top of their lungs somehow find another gear. Hands go up. Voices crack. Grown adults who have had hard years get tears in their eyes over a song about a dock worker and a waitress. For 4 minutes, a stadium full of strangers all become the same broke, hopeful kid, holding on to the person beside them. Because you have been Tommy. You have been Gina. You have had the month when the money ran out, the job that fell through, the long night lying awake doing the math and coming up short every time. And somewhere in the middle of that, you made a quiet decision not to quit. Not because you had any proof it would work out, but because there was a hand in yours, and somehow that was enough to keep going. That feeling, right there, is the whole song. Bon Jovi just gave it a melody and a key change. The song never promises you that you will make it. That is the secret of why it lasts. It only promises you that you are halfway there, and that halfway, with somebody's hand in yours, is worth throwing your fist in the air and singing about at the top of your lungs. So here are 3 things to take with you. 1. The fact. One of the biggest anthems of the entire 80s was almost left off the album by the very man who sang it. Jon Bon Jovi thought "Livin' on a Prayer" was too cheesy to keep. It was saved by Richie Sambora refusing to give up on it, by a talk box, and by a room full of ordinary teenagers who voted for it before the world ever heard it. 2. The craft lesson. The song has 2 secret weapons hiding in plain sight. A guitar that talks, which gives it a hook before a word is sung, and a key change near the end that shoves the whole thing up a gear right when you need it to. That is not cheese. That is hope engineered. And 3, the one that stays with you. Tommy and Gina were real, pulled from a songwriter's own broke and hungry years. And so is everyone who has ever screamed this song. It is not a song about winning, and it never claims to be. It is a song about holding on when you have got nothing left but each other, and about how, sometimes, that is more than enough. So tell me, where were you, and who were you holding on to the first time this song really got you? And what is the thing in your life right now that you are one prayer away from? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story changed the way you hear those first talking guitar notes, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because there is a new hidden story behind a song you love every single week. Thank you for listening, and whatever you are halfway through tonight, hold on. You are closer than you think.
You give love a bad name.